DMZ Season 3 has just dropped, and with it brings a load of new content, some changes, and a lot of secrets, and we're going over every one of them in this video. So strap yourself in, we got a lot to talk about. Like the video, subscribe if you're new, but in no particular order. We have to talk about the most polarizing decision for them to remove the weapon case from the Jug in Al-Mazrah. As I'm sure you've all seen in your games, this has now changed to a new train safe that is on the back of the old mechanical train, and there's a chance that the safe will hold the weapon case and be marked on the map. Now, to avoid any confusion, this isn't a new weapons case, it just replaces the Juggernaut weapon case on Al-Mazrah, and the way this works is on the furthest carriage you will find a safe that you'll have to start a drill on, and you'll need to protect it whilst an AI helicopter with tier 3 AI is going to spawn in and be trying to take you out. Now, because this is so open, this is very difficult in comparison to taking out the Jug, as anyone else in the game can be watching for the train to make its way past, hiding up in bridges or high up buildings, and take out the players that are camping by this drill. The AI chopper spawns are relentless, and if you've already got the weapon case 7 times from Al-Mazrah, you don't need to go through this because you don't unlock anything new. But if you haven't done it yet, this is the new way to get the weapons case. Now, this next change is with the Jug, because you would assume the Juggernaut is no longer on Al-Mazrah, but it is, and the way you find it is to do a secure intel contract, which will show you its exact position. So here, it was at the observatory, and it's in the same spot that it normally is, but the real question is, what does it drop if it doesn't have the weapons case? And now its loot has been changed, so it drops stuff like a gold skull, 2-plate armor vest, and an advanced UAV. In my opinion, if you come up against a Jug randomly, you might as well take it out to get some easy rewards, as the gold skulls are actually very useful. This goes into the third new change, which is the barter system, a new function under the buy stations that allows you to trade certain items in a recipe format in order to get a better item. If you want to get one of the brand new backpacks, the secure backpack that allows you to carry items outside of the game, you'll need to trade a gold skull, a gas can, and an electric drill. And thanks to Reddit user Sirwa2, we have this awesome image that shows you all of the recipes on both Al-Mazrah and Ashika Island, and you can make some really good stuff here. This is a game-changing new feature because finally all of the most useless items that you can find in DMZ finally have a use, and they all create genuine useful items. If you want the 2 new backpacks, the new plate carriers, or a skeleton key, then this is how you can get them guaranteed as long as you find those items. Another huge change is the new active duty operator slots. These allow you to essentially have multiple character saves in DMZ, each with their own backpacks, plate carriers, kill streaks, and such, and so you can basically build up multiple characters that all have the greatest loot. So if you die in one run, you don't necessarily have to regain straight away, you can just play another. It's a really fantastic addition, but there are some downsides to it, and that is the introduction of pay-to-win bundles. There is a bundle currently called Bomb Squad that allows you to get a 4th operator slot, but that also has its own benefits, such as a permanent medium backpack. So regardless of how many times you die in DMZ, that character will always have a medium backpack. And some other benefits is that it has a weapon blueprint for the Sakin, which only has a 15-minute cooldown, which is crazy compared to the normal 60 minutes. Now, there are leaked bundles coming in the future that will have even more crazy perks, such as spawning in with a UAV every game, spawning in with a self-revive kit every game, and a 2-plated armor vest every game. I'd love to know what you think about this in the comments below. Let's talk about some sneaky stealth changes to maps in DMZ, as if we go to this section of Ashika Island over at the port, you can now see that there are now a ridiculous amount of strongholds now that were not there in the previous season. There is like literally 7 or 8 of them that are all next to each other, so if you want to regain, then this is the place to go. As long as you've got a stronghold keycard, this is going to be an insane way to gather loot super duper quick. But that's not the only change to Ashika Island, and there is now a brand new cargo ship stronghold POI, which is off to one of the corners. And this isn't just a small ship, this is absolutely huge. There's also some submarines that are around it, which are sort of protecting it, but this is a really big area if you're wanting to go ahead and loot it. I'm sure there's some storyline elements tied to why this thing has appeared in the map, but it is incredibly similar to the boat from Hafid Port. It's pretty much exactly the same, but it has all those really small interiors that has a ton of secret legendary chests lying around. If we go over to Al-Mazrah, that has actually got a new secret interior added, which is really strange. So if we make our way to Rohan Oil and then go under the bridge here towards the access tunnels, you'll find some pretty beefy AI which are protecting some legendary crates. If you take a right, this wall used to be completely boarded up, but now it's a garage door that we can go under, and we're in this small little hut which has some lockers. It has some various items that are lying around on shelves, and this could be pretty good if you need specific items to trade at the bartering system to get something better. It's really strange. There's definitely something tied to this involving the storyline, because there's some weird markings on the wall in red paint, but at the moment this seems to be very strange and just sort of there without any real explanation. Another new addition for season 3 is the introduction of the heavy chopper. Now this can spawn in a few different areas, such as in the airport, at Hafid Port, or on top of the high-rise building, but you need to get some special fuel just for the heavy chopper in order to use it. Now it's insanely rare, but I've found 2 spots for you in this video. The first is going to be in the hangars at the airport in one of the corners, and another spot can be on the old train in one of the train carriages. I found it right at the start of the game, where obviously the safe hadn't been opened yet. No one had tried to get to it, but if you manage to get this fuel to the heavy chopper, you can fly it all around the map just like in Ground War, but you can also fly it out of bounds as a way to get a secret personal XFill. That's not the only new way to XFill, as all the buy stations on all maps now have a new option for you to buy a personal XFill. It costs $50,000. Once you buy it, it will appear on the map as a yellow XFill icon, and it will be placed right next to the buy station where you bought the XFill. You call it just like you would for a normal XFill, and this will bring in a XFill chopper that will take you and your team away, and it is way safer than using one of the XFill points on the map. However, enemy players will be able to see the beacon just like they do for the normal XFills, so they can tell that there is a team XFilling nearby. But this is going to be incredible for the final XFill, because you don't actually need to take that. If you have the time, just go to a buy station, buy this if you have the money, and you can XFill guaranteed pretty much at the end of the game. Another huge change is you can now loot the backpacks off of dead enemy players. Currently, this only seems to work for mouse and keyboard, but if you look at the backpacks of enemy players, you'll see that there will now be an option to show you what sort of backpack they were carrying, and if you're on mouse and keyboard, you can hover over that and take their backpack. Now, whilst this doesn't work on controller right now, by the time you're watching this video, it might have already been fixed. And on the topic of backpacks, there are 2 brand new backpacks, a secure backpack and a scavenger backpack, and there's a way to guarantee to get the scavenger backpack for 3 every game, and that's by finding the new scavenger boss. You can use a secure intel contract to find his direct location, or you can get lucky and find him at random driving around the map, but dead players' bodies are going to have their dog tags removed and replaced with calling cards, which is what the boss does. When you're close to a dead body that has had its dog tag taken and replaced by a calling card, you'll see a red circle appear on your minimap, where if you loot that body, you will find the calling card and know the position of the scavenger. He's wearing a ghillie suit who will be protected by a lot of Shadow Company AI, and when he dies, he will drop a scavenger backpack, a gold skull, and an advanced UAV, very similar to what the Juggernaut now drops. If you want a full guide on the scavenger boss, then you can find that video in the top right of your screen right now, all linked below to watch after this video. But another change is that the UAV towers now show the area of effect on the overall map, which is absolutely huge. Now, if you're driving in an area, you can see if you're going to be in the radius of that tower or not, which is extremely useful. And on top of that, they've also made a change to the way that advanced UAVs works, where they have been improved now to show the difference between enemy players and AI combatants differently. And I had this happen in a few games where I saw a red dot for an enemy player as opposed to the confusing advanced UAV dots. It's really hard to tell the difference between a real player or AI. And people have also noticed that the gas now kills you a lot slower than it has in the past, and I tested this on Ashika with a 1-plate carrier character with no gas mask, and it did seem that I had a little bit more time in the gas than before. I've seen reports that having a 3-plated armor carrier and full health, you're able to survive a ton longer. So let me know if you experience the same. One thing I really love is if you go over to challenges in the main menu, there is a new box for DMZ weapon case challenges, which tracks how many times you've taken the weapon case from Al-Mazrah, Building 21 and Ashika Island, as well as the rewards associated with each time you exfilled with that case, so you can track how many cases you need to get before you've got them all on every map. And in the future, we might be able to see what rewards we get from new weapon cases before we've even gotten them in game. Some smaller but secret changes is that we now have a ton more field upgrade, gun oil and blowtorch spawns in toolboxes, and they've changed the value of blowtorches down now from 14 grand to like $200. These things are absolutely worthless now. We've also had an increase in the spawn rate of plate carriers, medical items, gun oil, documents and food rations around around the map, as well as there being an overall amount of loot found in the world to have been increased. And to me, that is a massive, massive W. There is now an adjustment, so now when you go into each area, you'll see a pop-up on screen for how big the threat level is in that area, which is great for new players to understand how intense the AI is going to be. And last but not least, a very sad one, the trick to get into the airport control tower without a key by flying in from the roof has sadly been patched. F's in the chat.